This is Pet Life Radio. Let's talk pets.
Hi, welcome to It's a Doggy Dog World. I'm your host, Liz Palika, and with me are my good friends Petra
Hello.
and Kate Abbott.
How do?
And today we're going to talk about dogs and other small pets. We're going to initially just talk about dogs and cats because, dogs and cats. But we get questions about dogs with other small animals, ferrets, rabbits, hamsters, guinea pigs,
Birds,
yeah.
reptiles, and no, not the gigantic pythons that could eat your dog, but, small pets.
Like geckos, bearded dragons.
Yes, especially the ones
Turtles.
that people are more likely to take out of the habitat and handle, like
Right.
leopard geckos and bearded dragons.
Right.
Maybe the smaller snakes, milk snakes, king snakes. So anyway, we decided to talk about little critters. And I think before we talk about the other pets, we need to talk about the dogs. Dogs are predators.
I used to have dogs and cats. Now I have a terrier. I don't have cats. No.
And let's just say Kate and her terrier, Quill, were down at the park near my house a few weeks ago. And I said, sure, come on over. And I put my cat in the bedroom and closed the door before Quill came in the house.
And the first thing I said was, where are the cats?
Quill's a hunter.
Yeah. A friend of mine keeps saying, oh yeah, my terrier acts like that till he gets up there and then he just loves on him. And I'm like, I'm just not willing to risk somebody else's cat to find out.
Well, or you. If you adopted one and brought one home, you'd feel absolutely horrible if he killed it.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, he's gotten lizards,
Oh,
rats,
he brought me a possum.
a possum.
If he can do
Gophers?
a possum,
Oh, yeah.
go
Because
for
those
it.
are nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then he can.
Yeah.
Well, they're big anyway.
Sometimes they play dead and they're easy to kill, but
He worked on that one for a while.
Got nasty teeth.
And I don't have terriers, but I have herding dogs. The line between herding and chasing is a very fine line. Some of the worst livestock killers are herding dogs that just take it a step too far. And Petra and I both foster kittens for local rescue. And I know of my 3 dogs that Hero and Seven are going to be absolutely wonderful with the kittens. And they wash faces and they wash kitten bottoms and they supervise. And far be it from me if I am holding a kitten and that kitten squeaks, then I have 2 dogs looking at me going, what did you do? But Bones, as good as he is in other situations, he doesn't want those kittens to touch him. And I don't know that he would purposefully kill a kitten, but I'm not willing to take the risk.
Yeah.
If he doesn't want those kittens to touch him, fine. I don't put the kitten or him in a situation where it could be a problem.
See, in my house, it's Poncho that's fine with kittens, even them running around. Or then, like our recently foster fail adoptee, likes to cuddle with him.
Yeah, oh, when I saw those pictures, it was like, who is that dog and what
Right?
did you do with Poncho?
I know. And every night she sleeps with us and she cuddles with him all the time. Tango, he has a high chase instinct. Cats running around, kittens, it's fun just to chase them. Now, he doesn't harm them, but he'll chase them and then he nose butts them. He gives his nose and then punches them with the nose.
Run some more, go ahead.
Like, no, we're not doing that. But then Willow is like you're 7. Willow's really good with the kitten. So she's usually the first one I'll introduce them to. Because she'll just lay down and just lays there and lets them, she'll lick their butts and their faces and plays with them, but she'll lay down and she's gentle with it.
Well, this new batch of kittens that I have, the 3, I've only had 36 hours, and they're bottle babies, so I'm bottle feeding and making them go potty. And 7 is right there with me, with the kittens, as I take them out of the cage one at a time, bottle feed it. I turn the kitten around, she licks the milk off the face, turn the butt around, Hero washes the bottoms. They make my job so much easier.
Yeah.
And then put it back and then bring out another one. self-appointed jobs. I don't force Hero to lick the other end. It's self-appointed. They're babies. This is what you do to a baby. Some people have been absolutely disgusted when I say Hero washes the bottoms, but his choice. If he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't have to do it, and there's in no way do I force him to. But Seven does the face, and Hero does it. And there's been times, this afternoon, I held the kitten down, and a dog was working on each end. Poor kitten's getting bottom washed and face washed. No, actually, they don't even squeak. They just, it's like, okay, you're bigger than my mom, but all right. But I think if you're going to have little pets in a house with a dog, the first thing you do is need to evaluate your dog without romanticizing it, without assuming that your dog is going to be good with little pets.
Take off your rose-colored glasses.
Take off the rose-colored glasses. How does your dog react? If you have a big dog, how does he react with little dogs? What happens if does a family member have a little pet or a cat? It only takes one mistake to kill the small pet.
Yeah, if you have a big dog, it just takes one paw.
One paw.
It could be just playing with a paw
or
of a kitten.
Dogs play with each other, grab. If he grabs a little pet, the pet's gone. And that could be really, really traumatic. Never mind that a pet has died. So without making excuses for behavior, without romanticizing it, how does your dog act with little animals? And then second, how does he act with little animals that run?
Oh, God.
Because there's one thing if I hold the kitten and my dogs wash the kitten's face and bottom, but how about when that kitten gets a little bit older before he's adopted, when he's running around the house?
See, and that's how it works. So Liz is done with them about 4 weeks and they're weaned. And then they come to my house, and that's when those little cute little 4-week-olds are running around.
I do the bottle baby, and then when they're weaned and they use the litter box, they move to her house.
Would you call it popcorn kittens?
Little popcorn kittens.
Yeah,
Everywhere.
boing, boing,
They're everywhere.
Sometimes I have them till 5 weeks, and they're starting to bounce around. But what I've done when they start bouncing around is they don't get free run of the house.
Yeah.
Because, one, I don't entirely trust Bones. And two, Seven is used to running with my adult cat. And she and my adult cat will zoom back and forth up and down the hall. And I know that, one, she's never, ever going to hurt him. I worry more about him hurting her. And he will turn around and chase her. And he'll lift up a paw that's loaded, and she goes, never mind, okay, I'm a good girl, I'll stop. So I don't want her to take that habit of playing rough with the big cat and have her do the same thing with the kitten. So I separate the kittens when they turn into popcorn kittens. I have one room that I can block off and close the door, and that becomes kitten room. When Paul and I had ferrets, we would often let the ferrets out of their cage to run around. But the dogs, we had German Shepherds at that point, did a downstay. Lay down, stay. Ferrets get to run around. If a ferret bounces over to you sideways, and jumps all over you, you hold that downstay.
Talk about proofing.
Yeah, well, both of those dogs had their obedience trial championships, and both of them were certified search and rescue dogs. They could do a downstay for a ferret. I haven't had rabbits with the dogs in years. Once I learned I was allergic to them. You've had rabbits with the dogs, so.
Yeah, but same thing. I mean, rabbits, reptiles, we've had hamsters, rats. But, when some that small, and then at that point I had German Shepherds or Aussies. We put them in a little run portable thing. I don't know what you can buy them on pet stores.
Like the puppy playpens.
Well, yeah, like a little puppy playpen. And so the dogs can be around and be, comfortable with them. But when they're that small, I don't let them run into the house because I'd lose the little critter. So you gotta pick, see who do you let run around the house? You don't want a little hamster or a little rat because it'd be gone somewhere. But same thing. Again, you have a good solid down stay or a sit stay. Have them on leash.
Leave it.
Leave it has to be huge.
Leave
That's
it.
probably one of the things I do talk about when the doctors do come to the house to adopt the kittens is, I look at their thing and they show they have a dog. I question them. And then I kind of tell them that I'm a dog trainer. This is why I'm questioning. Because first I'm adopting you a kitten for Spot, but...
And we raised this kitten.
Yeah. Darn it, I wanted nothing to happen to it. So I do give them some of the pointers. Not to just throw them in a room together. No. Not even if you're familiar with the old cat that passed away. No, because this is a kitten. Do the leash thing. Ask if they've had obedience training, because your dog should do downstairs, sit, stay, and leave it. Yeah, that kind of thing. So I go through the whole thing with them.
Which is why you do the adoption part, because nobody's good enough to adopt one of my kittens. I'd end up with a whole bunch of foster fails.
It's great when the dogs and the cats have a great relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Watching Seven and Kirk, my adult cat, is better than any TV ever, because I've watched them invent games. Mm-hmm. The one that I've had on Facebook a lot is I had some craft supplies in a tub sitting on top of a trunk in my living room. I just hadn't put it away yet. It was all in the tub. And Kirk had gotten up on top of the trunk, and there was some red sisal rope. And it was just kind of wadded together. It was a cut-off piece that wasn't really long enough to do much with, but long enough I didn't want to throw it away. I could use it for something. So it was kind of wadded up. And I saw Kirk pawing at it, but either it was stuck under something or he couldn't get it out. He was working at it, but he couldn't get it out. And Seven was watching him. And after a few minutes, it wasn't very long, but a few minutes, she put her paws up on the front paws on the trunk, reached in, grabbed that rope, pulled it out, and dropped it on the floor. And meanwhile, I'm sitting there with my hands over my mouth going, she didn't do that. How did they communicate that? Mm-hmm. How did she get that? And then they turned that rope into a game. She would grab it and hold it. He would pull it, he would drag it, he would wrestle with it. She'd grab the rope, roll over, have it tangled in her front feet. He'd come over and grab the other end. For days, I finally threw the rope away about a week ago because it was so frayed and so half chewed and knotted. I was afraid the cat would swallow some of it.
Yeah.
And then it would kill him. And Kirk went around off and on for a couple of days meowing at me, looking for it.
Oh, mean mom.
I know, I was such a mean mom. Potentially saving his life, but mean mom.
He didn't care. He wanted that rope.
He wanted his rope. But I had more fun watching the two of them. And, in my head I'm going, these are two predator species who are figuring out how to communicate with each other. Mm-hmm. Now, Kirk is going on 6 years. She's not even quite a year and a half yet. Next month, the end of this month, they'll be a year and a half.
Yeah.
Not quite a year and a half yet. And so she's still puppy. And they're communicating the rules of these games. And I just sit there. I'm not reading my book. I don't turn the TV on. I'm sitting, I don't have a movie in. I'm just watching them, watching the body language, watching the thinking. And it's fascinating. Mm-hmm. Absolutely fascinating. And I've had such a good time. So I throw weird toys out there and see which ones they'll react with, which ones they'll play with, which ones they don't. They like long things that they can make a tug of war with. So like a little stuffed snake, okay, a cat toy that feather on one end attached to a rope, all kinds of stuff. It's like I'm conducting my own science experiment. But they will each take one of the toys and go find the other. Mm-hmm. Seven will grab a toy, go find Kirk. Kirk will come out, sit in the middle of the living room, and he's much less subtle. Meow, meow. Much less subtle.
But that's what's nice. You raise them correctly. You do it right. There's a nice
they respect
relationship that'll happen.
They respect each other. Mm-hmm. Kirk knows that Seven's bigger. Kirk also knows that he's armed. She totally respects the fact that his paws can be sharp. He lifts a paw and she backs up 3 feet. I don't think she's afraid of him. I think she's respectful. Okay. Those are his weapons. If he doesn't have that paw up, they'll lay down next to each other. They'll be face to face. They'll both tug on the toy. The total interaction. But if she gets too rough, all he has to do is go and lift that front paw. And she's, yes, sir. And she backs up a little bit. Okay, we'll talk about the rules of the game again.
Do you know if Kirk has ever swatted her?
Oh, yes. In puppyhood, he swatted her a few times. Yeah, he taught her, well, Kirk has raised Hero and Seven. But Hero never took it to the point of playing games with him. But, and I love the dork dearly, he's not as smart as Seven is. I mean, just who he is. He's a wonderful, sweet, loving, affectionate dog who wants to be a good boy, but he's not the brightest pencil in the pencil box. Seven is very bright. So Hero just gets out of Kirk's way. Okay, yep, hi, Orange Cat, I see you. I'm going to go lay near Mom. Bones just ignores him totally. But Seven is the one that's willing to interact with him.
Have fun with him.
Yeah. So they were able to set their own rules. Kirk was able to teach her. But at the same point, his confidence with dogs, with the dogs he's raised, could potentially put him in problems if he came face to face with a dog who wasn't respectful of cats. Because Kirk has no fear of dogs.
Like a terrier.
Yeah. So he's an indoor cat, other than his very secure catio. He's an indoor cat only, and he will always be an indoor cat. Because he'd be the one that would go up to the coyote going, yo, I'm in charge of canines. Or to the stray dog, or whatever.
Sometimes it's the dogs that have to be protected. One of our students had 6 of the large parrots.
Oh, yes.
Then those beaks
can take a chunk out of you.
Yeah, much less a chunk out of the dog. So they were good about keeping them fairly separate. The dogs were allowed to cross the patio where the birds lived. But they had to cross the patio quickly and go outside. Not hang around there.
Paul and I had a friend who did Big Bird Rescue, the big parrots. And Brooke, one of the ladies, had a big triangular hole in her arm that the skin was sunk down where a big bird, that was a rescue, and who knows, like rescue dogs, who knows what the background was. But she was walking by, the bird was on a perch, she walked by, she was feeding, he reached over chunk and took that big chunk out of her. And she still did Big Bird Rescue. She said it wasn't his fault. You know, who knows what happened to him before she got him. But yeah. And then the reptiles, well, you and Paul and I had both done reptile rescue for a number of years.
Yeah.
And the big part of reptile rescue was everything was caged. And the dogs were taught not to bother those cages.
Because you could.
Lots of
I could see like Quill.
Oh Lord.
He would be trying to make his way into a cage. But yeah, like with my dogs, there's a cage, you can look at it, but don't touch it, don't get near it, don't try to, they're off limits. Just leave it.
And turtles and tortoises, we did tortoise and box turtle rescue. I never took water turtles, wasn't set up for water turtles, but box turtles and tortoises. And box turtles might be caged inside for a while if they were sick, or the babies would be inside. But otherwise, they had free run of the backyard. And the dogs, all my dogs were taught, turtles and tortoises were leave it. You don't touch it. You don't steal their food. You don't chase them. You don't stick your nose under them and flip them over. They are completely and totally off limits. And all our dogs were taught that before they were allowed to run in the backyard with the turtles and tortoises. Because a lot of turtle and tortoise rescues won't adopt the people with dogs because so many dogs think they're toys to chew on.
Yeah.
And
terriers.
Yeah. And
chew on, roll them around.
Can kill them.
That's why I had to add the fence around my turtle pond.
Oh, that's right. Your aquatic turtles. That's
my
right.
terrier discovered them one day.
And he was willing to go swimming with them.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So now I have a fence around that thing.
Well,
Because
that keeps Big Bertha out of the swimming pool.
Amazingly enough, no.
Oh, no.
I still don't know how she does it. So Big Bertha's my female red-eared slider.
Who's big?
She's big.
She's a big old girl.
Dinner plate?
Yeah.
Close to.
Well, it's been a while since I've seen her, but the last time I saw her, she was getting dinner plate size.
The turtle pond's off of my patio, and then it's 14 steps.
Yeah.
To the next, down to the poolside.
And it's down
concrete.
And terraced.
So she either goes down the stairs, dunk, 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 or she stays on the terrace level, and then it's a 3-foot drop. And then crawl across that, and then 3-foot drop.
So weird.
But I have still caught her in the human swimming pool. And she gets so pissed when I net her and pull her out.
Well, sure, she goes from the turtle pond to freedom.
Yes. And it was usually in the spring.
Well, let's talk about her a little bit more in a moment. Let's take a break for one of our sponsors.
Help your dog from the inside out with Caniotic Daily Probiotic for Dogs. Caniotic's superior and exclusive technology makes it the only dog probiotic from the dog for the dog. Your dog's gastrointestinal tract is important to their well-being, and a daily dose of Caniotic is one easy way you can support it. Caniotic, Caniotic, is available on Chewy.com. Add it to your cart today and give it a try.
Let's Talk Pets on PetLifeRadio.com.
Welcome back. Okay, Quill and Big Bertha. So what did you do besides fencing off the turtle pond to help protect Big Bertha when she gets out? Well, Quill's not going to go diving for her, but he does like the pool, though.
Yeah, he won't go under. The fence. I mean, if she comes out, then she becomes a wild critter, and so forth. But
leave it. Training won't override it.
His prey drive is so high. I don't know if she'd actually get a hold of his nose or something, but
that might just serve to make him mad.
Yeah.
Although he doesn't like pain. He can be a baby about pain, so maybe if she got his nose.
When the hunting fever is upon him.
Yeah, that's true.
He is just, I mean, that's, as you said earlier, you have to be clear-eyed about your puppy dogs.
Yeah.
And he's a hunter.
Yeah.
And a killer.
Yeah. Well, we've seen him in action.
Yeah.
We've seen him out in the field and catch...
I mean, I've gone after him. I've told him no. I've redirected. But no. It's, if he hears the plop of one of the turtles jumping from a rock into the water, and he'll go around and around and around and put his feet up on the fence and go, please, let me in there.
And he's, 9 years old now?
Almost 10.
Almost 10.
Yeah.
So training will only do so much.
Yep. I mean, there's all those wonderful stories, and I've seen it myself. A friend with a Chesapeake Bay Retriever.
Uh-huh.
One of his best friends was a cockatiel.
Yeah.
And the cockatiel would just chortle to himself and sing and fly over to the dog and pull out his fur and then take it back and try to make a nest out of it. And they were just sweethearts together.
And I have a story about an Australian Shepherd and a cockatiel that's exactly the opposite.
Yeah, see, that's not nice.
Yeah. Paul and I had a rescued cockatiel. I think we got it when we took in a reptile rescue, and the guy said, take this too. And Paul liked birds, so we took the cockatiel. Well, one day I had put the dogs in the backyard because I knew my Australian Shepherd, Ursa, a big Aussie, big black tri-Aussie, paid an awful lot of attention to the bird. But the cage was out of her reach, so she could watch, but she couldn't touch him. The other 3 Aussies didn't pay any attention at all. But anyway, I put all the dogs outside, let the bird out while I was cleaning his cage. His one wing was clipped, so he could flutter, but he couldn't fly. And he was out prowling the house. I was cleaning the cage. Doorbell rang, and a repairman came over. Ah, okay. So repairman took care. I don't remember what he was fixing. Maybe the dishwasher or something. He was all done, paid him. He left. I forgot the bird was out, and I let the dogs in. And all I saw was this cute little white and yellow cockatiel go flutter, flutter, flutter. Ursa caught him in midair, and he was down her throat before I could even say her name.
Cool.
He was gone. The only thing I could say is he didn't suffer. Her prey drive with that bird was so strong. And it was my fault. And I felt guilty. I felt terribly guilty because I forgot he was out. So that was our last bird.
I can't even think about a cat. I just know that no matter how much you manage, accidents happen.
Yeah.
Well, this was it. It was an accident. I got distracted by the repairman. Forgot the poor bird was out.
I mean, so if you know you have a dog that is like Quill, or like Ursa was, then maybe it's not the time to get a little critter.
Yeah.
Just wait.
There are other terriers. Katie's terriers got along with the cat.
Yeah, there's other ones. But if you know your dog is that type of personality, then just don't. Yeah, just wait. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes he reminds me of like the ace pilot with the little stamps on the side of the airplane as to how many kills. I think he's got a little stamp somewhere. And he's like, there's a lizard. Oh, there's a gopher. Oh, there's a mouse. I mean, to the point now where my friends are saying, bring him over, I've got a mouse in the garage.
Yeah.
And he found it.
Yeah, you came to my house one time. So
didn't find it. He was like, it's in there, but he couldn't get to it.
Yeah, he has his good.
Right, just don't want to have one of those in the house as a pet.
Yep. Yeah. Before we wind this up, take a listen to our second sponsor. We'll be right back.
So now I've got this pack of 4 Shar-Pei rescue dogs for, oh my goodness, probably 5-6 years. They get a regular diet of Dinovite with every meal.
DINOVITE.com.
People remark on what beautiful coats they've got. I tell them, you don't need to wait until a problem presents itself. It's far better to keep the dog happy and healthy at all times.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dinovite from DINOVITE.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com. We know you're begging for more. So back to It's a Doggy Dog World with your fetching hosts, Liz Palika, and this week's co-hosts, Kate Abbott and Petra Burke.
Welcome back. So, management, if your dog does not have a quill type, a terrier type prey drive, teach leave it, teach lie down and stay. Be able to control your dog obedience-wise with the distraction of the smaller pet. Manage the smaller pet. Cage when you can't supervise, like we did with the ferrets. We would let the ferrets run around while the dogs were in a downstay. We never left the room. We never left them alone. Exactly. If we were going to get busy, we put the ferrets away in a safe place. Many times, well, Paul and I were married 37 years, and many of those years we had a separate room, like a spare bedroom, that was a small critter room. And put a screen door on it, so, there's interaction, but the dogs are out, the critters are in. And that way, when we couldn't supervise, there was some safety for the little critters. Now, the only little critters I have are the foster kittens, and I do basically the same thing, because I don't want, like right now, Bones is home alone with the foster kittens. Kittens are in, actually, a big dog crate, and I know he's not going to bother him in the dog crate. I don't leave him out running around, if he's going to be home alone with them. He doesn't have the same prey drive that Quill has, but he also doesn't want the kittens to mess with him.
Yeah.
If it were Hero home alone with him, I wouldn't worry at all. because to him the kittens are precious. I probably wouldn't worry about 7 either, except she might have them all gathered up under her chin between her front legs, and she might not let them move. But that would be okay too if they were big enough. And I don't have any reptiles now or any other small pets, just simply because it's me and there's only so many I can take care of. But I think obedience training for the dog when possible, management with the small pets, but most importantly, take off the rose-colored glasses when you're looking at your dog.
And the cat, for that.
And
or
the cat.
What, you know.
Yeah.
The other critter.
The critter. Evaluate the other pet. There's the big yellow python.
Mm-hmm.
You were hoping she wouldn't bring that one up?
No, I was really hoping she wouldn't bring that one up.
Especially the part about it having safely contained.
That could be another story.
That'll be another story for another day.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hope that gave you some things to think about. I know evaluating your dog without the rose-colored glasses is difficult. We love our dogs. Our dogs are a huge part of our lives. Heck, this podcast is called It's a Doggy Dog World. But we got to keep in mind that dogs are predators by nature. And even the cutest, most well-loved dog is still a predator.
Yep.
So keep that in mind. All right, well, that's it for this podcast. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Having a rough day? Longing for the dog days of summer? Think your fun furry friend lives a dog's life? Well, find out everything you're begging to know as Pet Life Radio presents It's a Doggy Dog World with pet expert and award-winning author Liz Palaika. Every dog has his day, and you'll find out how to make your dog's day fun and rewarding. Every week, on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.